Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Arcanautus Ascent. I have
So
with me to yes.
you would think you wouldn't be surprised by this anymore. I do it every time.
I forget though. The only reason I'm able to DM is because I have a Word document where I write down my thoughts. Because the second they leave my mouth, they leave my mind. Sorry. So, anyways, we have with us tonight, Siegfried, Zen, and Echo, who is playing Anwan, the
The
halfling,
returning.
and returning Anwan to the
Hello.
party, who had been out for a while.
Exploring the
Took some
womb of the tomb.
the womb of the tomb. No, I'm not changing
God.
its name. Um, yes, paste. All right, we have Anwan here, who is in Arcanautus currently. Anwan,
Pregnant.
you and I did a little mini session before. You did your thing. Um, what you remember from that? Let me know if you have questions, but otherwise, just act accordingly to what you experienced. You are all good. Okay,
Good.
so, last we left our party, they had spoken to, the contractor. They had, requested some assistance with a couple of problems. A couple of potential world-ending issues were resolved, theoretically, and one temporarily. The Velociraptor was converted from an archstone was placed within the Velociraptor, connecting it instead of to the plane of bees. It now opens doors randomly around it. Doors in this case being portals to other planes. And it seems to shoot out portals now instead of bees, which is better, question mark? Less, not infinite. Let's just say the word infinite is no longer involved, I suppose. Although I guess there are infinite planes, but that's less of an issue than infinite bees, I think, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
The only sad part is I can't come up with a dinosaur portal name. It's kind of weak.
Portal Dawn. Telling you, Hell Raptor was way
It
better. I don't
was,
understand.
but I don't want no.
Dilophosaurus.
Oh, okay. Okay. I forgot about the door thing. Yes, the Dilophosaurus. I like that.
Dilophosaurus. It's a different
Wait, actually,
species, but
wait,
let's
wait, wait,
fucking
wait,
go.
wait. No, no, no. Velocidorus.
Oh, Velociraptor, yeah. Velociraptor.
Yeah,
That's
that's good.
fucking. Wait, I have to write it down. I have to write it down. That's great. I love that.
Tyrannodorus Rex. If we find a big one.
Uh. Oh, you want a bigger infinite bee? You want a Belosasaur? Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Belosasaurus Rex.
No, because it's Tyran, so it would be B. B.
We broke 'em, boys.
Big B Roar Boy. He was unable to open it.
Or Chirp.
Oh, don't you start with me. Um, the uh, oh. Um,
Yeah. Whatever. We're
Sorry.
heading back to Arcanautus
Yeah,
again.
yeah, thank
folks.
you. We're heading back to Arcanautus. They're sailing. The other thing I wanted to mention was that Jormungandr, a death contract was established between Jormungandr and Siegfried. Now, this death contract, the stipulations were, if Siegfried insults or disrespects Jormungandr, death is the cost, though with one warning. In exchange, Siegfried can command Jormungandr. If Jormungandr disobeys Siegfried, it will lead to death, though with one warning. Siegfried, if Jormungandr grows more than two size category, more than like two more, big bumps, the contract's magic will no longer be strong enough to subdue its hunger and will end. Upon either's death, the contracts end. So that is the new development that has occurred, the main development that occurred last session. The party had interacted slightly with Skyknight Gabriel, and had told him to report their findings, and that you all will be ready for a rest when you come home, and to avoid the party's ships if they see them as they're flying around. Gabriel had notified you all that funds had been injected into the keep on a recommendation from Sinispa, supposedly. So supposedly your keep has been getting worked on, or at least supplies have been being transferred while you guys were doing your little adventure with the big one and your little fishing mini arc. So, my beloved friends, you return to Arcanautus. Let's move you guys on the map here.
A lot more tired than we left.
Boop, boop, boop. Oh, since you guys have your ship down here, where would you like to dock your various vessels? You only got two choices.
Could we dock them?
You could split it.
Which place is closer to the keep?
The Saltmire docks for sure, because the keep was gonna be on the Eye of Caesar side, like over here-ish, right?
I don't think we ever really went into the details, so I'll let you decide.
Okay, I apologize. I was imagining it on the outskirts.
You said they were building it on like the south part. So.
Yes, exactly. On the sort of southern edge down here, slightly along the coast. You see where this little divot is in the forest there? Think like right around there. You guys are like a little bit of a walk or a jog or a very short horse ride from the Saltmire, or the Upper District docks.
All right, that works.
Yes.
So we'll dock there.
All right, sounds good. As you guys go to pull in, you have a lot more ships than you originally did. Can I make this
hard
smaller?
work?
No, of course not. What are you doing with Jormungandr? Jormungandr will attempt to remain hidden unless you tell them to do otherwise, and they will remain in the water.
I'll ride him up.
Do not bring him near the. Do not let people see him, dude.
As a reminder, the Saltmires own these docks. Okay, Siegfried, you were saying you were riding him?
Also, the Saltmires hate sea monsters.
He's not a sea monster. He's an amphibian.
He is 100% a sea monster.
Did I write? One sec. If we're gonna be specific about it.
He's
yes.
an amphibious monster.
No, he's a monster now. If we're looking at, like, say, a ranger's preferred enemies, he would be considered a monstrosity.
God damn it.
Used to be a beast.
Is he a sea monster?
Just if we want to get technical.
So I'm gonna say this to Jormungandr while he's around. If you start getting hungry, just tell Siegfried to tell me, and I'll toss you some berries. You know how it goes.
Yes. Good. And it would sort of nod and sort of just... it would remain... Jormungandr, for the rest of this trip, returning to Arcanautus, has been relatively docile. They almost seem, like, satisfied, in a way. And they've just been, like, defending the ships and, like, scaring away any potential issues or that sort of thing. They're essentially just acting as a sort of ship bodyguard. until otherwise needed. Now, as you're approaching the docks, you do notice, especially, given that the more, let's say, affluent traders tend to dock around here outside of, as well as a few military vessels. There are Sky Knights patrolling, and you do see two, one on a sort of a grayish-white griffin, in particular, begins to descend towards your fleet as you approach just to check in. Are you riding Jormungandr in to the docks, Siegfried, or are you waiting until after you've all docked and then he's going to crawl out of the water?
Into the docks.
Okay, so Siegfried decided to ride Jormungandr for the last bit of the journey here. And as you're approaching, they would, seeing this, call in the other Sky Knight, who happened to be there, a gentleman flying around on a traditional tannish wyvern, who's in a little bit heavier armor than his compatriot on the griffin. The one flying the wyvern appears to be of dwarven make, and the one on the griffin appears to be human. They keep their distance about 50 feet up and away from you all as they shout, "Hail! Returning to dock, we were told to expect your group. We have a couple of positions open, a couple of places on the docks for you, but we're gonna have to ask that you not bring in the creature over there." Referring to Jormungandr, they appear to be indicating towards. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I was being asked something. And I would say, yeah, do you have slots as far away from the others as possible? We'll keep him, we'll keep him out of sight and away from the other ships.
And they kind of look at each other. The one with the griffin flies.
You want me to do like a boat?
No, he can just wander around as long as people don't see him.
The one flying on the griffin sort of flies down a little closer to the ship, Zen, and he
also,
would.
Don't forget he likes naps.
Yeah, and he would be like, "Listen, man, I really don't think it's a good idea to bring that thing on land if that's what you're planning on doing, and even having it in the docks. Like, we got folks from the military here. They were gonna be super nervous, and like, we don't want any like bad scenes to be happening. Like, it could cause problems. We heard about your group and we know what the deal is mostly, but like, we were also told to," and he sort of as he glances over in the direction of Siegfried and Jormungandr, sort of like pulls on his reins and actually raises the griffin up a couple more feet. We were warned ahead of time as well, so you probably should maybe just keep it out of sight.
Yeah, that's fine. But remember, I was the one that gave the warning. We were able to manage something, so it's not as dire a situation as before. But yeah, we won't endanger people. We'll keep him as out of sight and out of mind as possible.
All right, understood.
If you want, we can wait.
He's not going to be coming on land, is he?
I don't see any reason why he can't fit anywhere.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
If
We'll
make you feel better,
folks
we can
away
wait.
from the area where he'll be staying. How about that?
Sure,
Avoid
we'll
any
keep him
issues
as far
if
away
possible.
from docks as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, sounds good. Yes.
You hear all that, Jormungandr?
Jormungandr will raise their head out of the water now that they're able to, since they have a neck really now. And they'll sort of nod. Siegfried, you get a telepathic note. Does this sound amicable? Siegfried?
Sure.
Yeah.
Jormungandr would sort of pull over to your ship to allow you off, or to up to the docks to allow you off, and then he would just simply descend a little deeper in the water. Out of sight, out of mind. All right, so Jormungandr is going to be, for all intents and purposes, hidden, and will remain in the essentially docked with your fleet. You can think of it that way, and he will defend your ships, if you indicate for him to do so, or if he feels like he could make a meal out of whatever happens to attack you guys. So you are back in Arcanautus. Now you are close, and it would likely be easy to make this your first stop, to go to the Saltmire Manor, if you were so inclined. Would you like to make that the first stop, or do you have somewhere else you want to go first?
I mean, if that's the closest, we should probably go there.
Yeah, we said that we'd report as soon as we got back anyway. And I have my request.
Yeah, that's right. That's
That's
right.
probably gonna be denied, but still.
Indeed. All right. Sorry, I just have to adjust a couple things. I have to move around the old icons because I didn't actually. Here, movie magic. All right.
Oh, as we dock, I'm gonna
Yes.
pay the crew.
Oh yes, of course.
But
Yes,
I
that's
already
right.
paid them. I paid them ahead of time, but I told them that depending on how it goes, they'd get extra pay.
How'd it go?
Uh, it went well. Like no one died, and we got most of the stuff we were trying to do done. So I'm gonna hand off 500 gold to
Dawnstar?
Dawnstar and tell him to distribute it amongst the crew. I mean, he was around for pretty much everything, so he knows who deserves what, and I'll leave the decision up to him.
Sounds good. And Captain Dawnstar, having captained before, sort of nods and definitely it seems to be used to this sort of transaction. And he will give you a solid nod and a smile and say, "Would you like me to stick around these parts? I am happy to continue assisting your fleet if you are going to be continuing your generosity. This was certainly an exciting voyage, and you are, without a doubt, reliable employers. I think this is the first time I've gone on sailing for, well, roughly a week or more without having almost any injuries, or at least a large percentage of injuries amongst the crew. And he, like, you get that sense, that feeling that you had after first taking care of and dealing with the big one, where there's that sense of camaraderie with the folks that were there when it happened that you sense within Captain Dawnstar as well. And he sort of definitely has a spark in his eye as he acknowledges you and gives you, like, a nod, and says, "I'll be in town. If you require me again, simply speak to the dockmaster. I don't plan on going on any voyages anytime soon. I will be taking this gold and I think just enjoying myself about town for a while. Thank you for your patronage and for keeping us safe on this journey."
And thank you for all your support. And I mean that to everyone. And just saying, we might not be making any long voyages like we did anytime soon, but if all of you here would like to continue working with us in our more stationary work in the Slayers, doing as we were doing on this trip, taking down pirates, taking down sea monsters, and keeping the populace safe, then well, we'd be working for the Saltmires. So I think you all understand the coin involved in that as well.
As you say these words aloud, you hear a rousing shout from various crew members. A general cheer of "Aye, aye!" And you seem so. Roll persuasion for me with advantage. A majority of your crew members are pretty much taken with you guys at this point. They've been with you guys for enough of this trip to sort of be used to the dynamic. A couple of them are side-eyeing Jormungandr still,
As they should.
as they should. But just go ahead and roll that with advantage for me. 16?
So I got a 16.
Okay. You're able to keep a majority of your crew. You only lose about 3 or 4 folks. 4 folks, let's say. Who a couple of them get their coin from Dawnstar and come up to shake your hand and just kind of give you a nod and acknowledge the seas were rough, but we made it through. I think I'll be heading out for a while. Thank you for your patronage. And
You're always welcome back.
Yes. Aye. And they'll kind of like one of them looks back over to Jormungandr, who raises their head slightly out of the water and eyeballs them. You see Jormungandr whisper the word, "You." And the crew member grabs their satchel of gold and just bolts.
What did that guy do to Jormungandr? What did Jormungandr do to him?
And you may never know. Anywho. Yeah, so you only lose a couple crew, easy to replace with the resources that you have available. But otherwise, a majority of your crew is pretty much sticking by you. The sort
what
of...
about Zalfos?
What do you mean? Zalfos ain't here.
What?
You dropped Zalfos and Little Puff off last a couple days ago.
Oh, that's right.
Zalfos is fucking out. Audi 9000. You don't know where Zalfos is. You don't know if Zalfos is still alive.
Little Puff killed him.
I've taken my first life. I'm a gangster now.
Oh no.
Now I only sing battle hymns. And
Yes.
dirges for the brothers I've lost in the streets.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Look, I got this tear-shaped tattoo and everything.
You know what? Look, I wouldn't actually enjoy seeing art of Lil Puff with a teardrop tattoo. I'm
Lil
not gonna lie.
Puff, hard Little Puff, punished Little Puff.
He has like a do-rag on his head.
Yeah. He's got like a piercings on some of his spikes.
Yeah.
Oh shit. No, he's still the sweet little choir boy.
Lil Puff Daddy.
Oh,
I don't like that. I mean, I don't
that
know.
one was terrible, but
P.
Little
Diddy?
pimp now.
I think I'll just take a little puff being a sweet innocent child.
Can't quite hear you, buddy. Anywho, sorry. Yes, continuing along. You are, and let's head over to the Saltmire Mansion.
Before heading up, I'm gonna have a little pot on my shoulder.
Lil Puff?
No, Lil Pot.
Lil
Pot.
Pot is the plant. Okay, yes. I
Yeah.
will grab Lil Pot.
Lil Pot.
You don't really have to grab him. You can just say he's there.
Yeah,
there.
it's just
Okay,
Flavor.
just
What the-
flavor. Okay. One sec. I deleted. Yeah, don't worry about it.
excuse me.
I was like, what happened to the map?
I just turned on Fog of War. Okay.
Darkness.
Anywho. As you all arrive, a little pot on, you said Siegfried's shoulder?
Yeah.
This tiny little plant creature, Are you guys bringing along anybody else? Oh, Knox actually would say as you guys are docking, all right, so I'm gonna go check in on Crasher personally. I'm just gonna make a beeline for the waves crash. I'll see you guys there if you end up stopping back. All right.
Yeah, we'll check on it. No
All right.
worries.
Sounds good. What time is it? About what? 10:30? I think it's time for a drink. The traditional
God
day
damn.
drinking of Arcanautus continues.
Bothers me.
All right. So you all arrive at the Saltmire Manor. You are recognized by the staff as you arrive, and you are let in. I will say we need. Give me a sec. Oh, that's interesting. So as you guys approach, you would be let into the mansion. Standing atop the rail, overlooking this central area, you would see Ultimus Saltmire looking down upon you guys, leaning against the railing. Well, well, well. It appears that you all were relatively successful in your outing. Your first outing as the Slayers. Tell me. I have heard a bit, but please, if you'd like to join me for a bit of meat and eggs in the other room, we can discuss your adventures and feats acting as the Saltmire Slayers. Come on, join. As he'll lead you guys back over into the dining room that you had been in before.
Oh yeah, I remember this place.
The paintings on the walls of supposedly of other members of the Saltmire family still present throughout the manor. Still, as you look at them, you get an eerie feeling of being watched. That said, let me pull up Ultimus real quick. Just because... Okay, so just to describe Ultimus again, because it's been like a hot minute. A gray, well-kept goatee is worn by this regal man, his age apparent but tempered, taken in stride. He typically wears some variant of a gray and white specked suit, the standard garb of the Saltmire family. He is distinguished by his brooch, an ornate gold pin that spans upward towards his shoulder in a web of miniature white gold flowers, and down towards his heart in diamond specks resembling spilling mineral grains. So, first, tell me about the outing you took to the Subsea Kingdom. Word got passed along, and I didn't get the full details, though, so do tell me what you know. What happened? I noticed that your third companion is no longer with you.
Yeah, sure. Is your wife gonna be attending? She seemed to really want to get the information about the trip overall as well. Should we wait for her,
He kind of
or should we tell her after?
puts his hands on the table and kind of interweaves his fingers, and sort of like taps his thumbs together. Seems to bite his cheek a little bit. I usually prefer to keep our business separate, if possible. She considers my, and he's kind of waving his head back and forth as he talks. She considers my approach a bit direct, perhaps. Not as how would she put it? Intelligent,
Subtle.
subtle as hers.
Uh,
So
well, that's
just
fine.
share with me, as my loyal slayers, what you have learned and what you have removed from the seas. If you brought any trophies, I will gladly pay you for them as well.
Yeah, sure. Um, so to sum it up, we, on the request from your wife, went to the Subsea Kingdom to try to resolve an issue with the leadership there. Them specifically supporting sort of the negative aspects of the sleeping serpents church and their tenants, and the supporting of the waking of the serpent and all that,
As
so on
you
and so
as
forth,
those words
bad
leave
stuff.
your mouth, his whole body tenses and his gaze hardens.
So we went there with the intent to either convince this high-ranking official to agree to not support those ways anymore, to submit to not apply those tenets and rules anymore, or just to remove him. Uh, and we were completely ready to do any of those three things. Luckily, however, with the truth be said, the use of some tools and uh some good old fashioned negotiations and just revealings of truth to this individual, he came to we came to an understanding with him, and he decided to try to support us in acting against the, let's call it, the sect of the church, as well as the organizations within the Subseed Kingdom, to halt their actions, which could lead to war, or the destruction of the world via serpent. Um, and we revealed to them what we knew, the situations that happened in Arcanautus, as you are aware of, the avatars that have attacked, um,
Indeed.
and so on and so forth. He did inform us of the individuals that would have been a part of that, which matched with our own findings. So they were compliant in that case, and it essentially just ended up being a situation where we sort of woke him up, per se. We woke up this individual, uh, and shed some light on some of the darkness within um their country, and they decided to support us as much as they can. And what we did to sort of apply that is we left, as you said, our other companion Shilvi behind
Indeed.
there to act as sort of an ambassador for Arcanautus in the Subsea Kingdom. So we have someone inside to relay information to and from with,
Huh.
um, and that can help us uh, be aware of any negative things that can happen, and also we can share information back on how to resolve issues and things like that. So I can't say, for because you've met Sylvie. They're a very free spirited person and will do what they
Indeed.
want, but they are a person that at the end of the day, worries about the individuals that live in the sea and land, uh, the land itself, and to just not allow the chaos to resume. So I believe that we can trust them to, at least as long as interests align in that way, where it's not a selfish act, or an act of war, they will support us in what we're trying to do. Now, after that, which was our main course of act on that trip, we decided to try to clean up the waters a bit, get rid of a few pirates and monsters along the way,
Ah, yes,
and
this is what I like to hear about. I understand you leaving them, and frankly, the fact that they are now back where they most likely feel more at home. And if you, as you say, can use them as a connection there for the purposes of gaining information or preemptive warning about anything coming from the Subsea Kingdom or anything that they might be sending our way, that is very, very good to hear. What happened next?
so we got attacked by a slime monster that ate people's brains, uh, killed
That's
that
awful.
thing. We got attacked by a pirate crew that had sort of, kind of, not really tamed a creature that had a portal to the plane of infinite bees in its mouth.
My god, the legends were true.
We managed to nix that, um, and
Unbelievable.
fought some fish people, saved a sky knight and a military vessel from said fish people,
Always good,
and
supporting our troops.
uh, got attacked by a giant worm monster and its children. Killed those. Um, we ended up making a stop at Angelus Island.
Oh,
To
interesting.
Yeah, we heard tell of legends
I
and
definitely
the
respect.
prospect of treasure.
I respect the Temple of Angelus. While they don't remove some of the larger threats typically found in the waters on the northern side of town, they are. I have hired out folks from there or to head to there for supplies, harpoons, heavy cables. Temple of Angelus has done us a good turn. Happy to hear you're working with them, made a connection there.
Oh, we did more than that. And
Oh?
he pulls out Zen pulls out the rod of Angelus and the vest of the anchor rod and the vest of tackling, and he points at Siegfried's hat. We managed to get recognized by Angelus, or at least his artifacts, and we are currently in possession of them.
And
So,
Ultimus's eyes actually go wide at this.
and not only
I
that, we
see.
managed. Should I keep going? Were you gonna
Go
say
go
something else?
on, go on. This is impressive.
We managed to. I don't know if you've heard of it. It was a big thing at Angelus Island, but we managed to capture what was called the Big One, which was a 40-foot long uh sea monster from the trench that was
Oh, I
plaguing the waters
see.
around there.
Did you bring me its
We
skull?
It was too big, and we had trouble dealing with another creature at the time, so we decided to leave it at the island.
Oh,
Uh,
that's a
if
tad
you ever,
disappointing, but I will have
it's gonna be
those.
taxidermied there if you ever want to see it.
I see. Is the name of the slayers emblazoned on the plaque, or did you?
We did tell them we were part of the Slayers. We did say that, and they do have our names. So
Good, good. Yes, yes. This is fantastic. Fantastic. While I am a little jealous that they got to keep it, a little disappointed to be honest, I do admit that maybe as a tactical decision it was rather wise. Let the word spread about the Saltmire Slayers and their capabilities on handling the threats of the sea. I like it. I like it a lot.
we were also able to commandeer vessels from various pirate
Now,
crews
this I
uh,
have heard about.
and
You
amass
left
a bit of a
with
crew ourselves.
you left with 1 ship, and you are returning with 5. Was it 5 or 4?
It's 5, but one of them's small, so more like 4.5.
It's 5.
Yeah, it's 5. I must applaud you on commandeering several vessels, and word has reached my ear as well that you were able to retain almost every single one of your human assets as well. Your
No one
people
died.
assets.
Nope, not a single person died.
But 1 person died.
No, that was before. That was before this trip. That was on
That's
the
true.
trip down to uh
The contractor. The elementalist
yeah, the
back then.
contractor. The first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't lose anyone on this trip.
And that, if I'm being honest, more than any of the feats you've provided so far, besides perhaps killing this big one, as you said, does earn my respect, gentlemen, and I will make that known outright. If you can retain these assets and continue to gain so much in, frankly, so little time, I have very high hopes for you lot. Sanispa, I'll say, mentioned to me that she got a report from Kay that was very positive about the business you're doing for her, which, of course, I won't pry into the specifics, but I assume, based on what you said, it was mostly political.
Yeah,
I will,
pretty political.
I will say, be careful when it comes to getting involved in the politics of the Subsea Kingdom. Did you get an audience with the current king of the kingdom, perchance, while you were down there? Sorry, getting distracted, but this is important.
We didn't try we didn't need to do that for our mission, and I wanted to get out of there as quick as possible.
I understand that feeling. All right, that's
Uh,
fine.
Quick question. Do you recognize this item? And he's gonna pull out the Crying King's crown.
It would take him a minute. He would examine it and sort of look upon it and sort of, One moment. You gentlemen, enjoy the... And a cook comes in with a plate, a heaping with omelets, filled with various different eggs and, chicken and sort of turkey and sort of various exotic bird meats and cheeses.
Is there a salad? Is there any salad? Any veggies?
And he'll, clap for the, chef and whisper something into their ear, and they'll nod and bring you back a plate of actually what appears to be a yaya fruit salad, and this is like some upper crusty shit. So
Yeah.
like you are quite pleased if you do indulge in said salad. The yaya fruit being the magical export fruit, primary magical food export of Arcanautus.
Yeah. Give
This
me
is
some
prepared
meat and fruit.
perfectly. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted by describing food.
Wait, we didn't. There's one thing I forgot to say.
You say with a mouth full
your
of food?
granddaughter, Your granddaughter got captured by snake people.
My God! He like stands up from his chair. Which one?
The Red Death.
Oh,
I
and
mean,
he sits
what's her
back
name?
down. Anna. And he
Yeah,
sits.
Anna. Yeah.
And he sits back down. Oh, okay. Any other news?
All right. Nah. Sorry.
All
I
right.
just didn't wanna.
Just
She'll
out
probably
of
be fine.
just out of curiosity, captured by who, and do they want money again?
All we heard was she was on one of her, shenanigans with
Shenanigans. Yes,
some
I
other
know.
with a crew that she managed to like trick, and
Unlike
they went
you
into the
lot, she is not very good at retaining human resources. I'll just put that out there.
yeah. So they headed towards the shifting seas, and got attacked by some snake people. I don't know what they're called.
Yuan
And
Ti.
they yeah, I think that's what the guy said. And they destroyed their ship and killed everyone except for the one guy who managed to uh, wash up on shore, down on the south end of the island,
I
who was able
see.
to tell us what happened to Anna. She managed to convince them that she was worth more alive. Probably threw around the Saltmire name or something along those lines. But they instead of killing her, they took her back on their ship and probably brought her back to their island,
He kind
wherever the
of
hell that
puts
is.
he pinches his the bridge of his nose and just sighs and forks some omelet into his mouth and just chews for a minute and swallows. I will have somebody send magical communications to her to see if she is all right. If she is not dead, I may have a task for you all if you're in the mood, or perhaps a smaller team might be more useful for that journey. I will figure that out. She is. I don't know if you lot have determined this with your interactions with her, but despite her recklessness, she is extremely lucky. Almost supernaturally so. I think she'll be fine, but I will have somebody at least check in with her. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. She's ridiculous. And he's just kind of like grumbling and eating his eggs at this point. Sorry, we were saying before.
Oh, I was asking if you knew anything about my crown.
Yes. And he puts down his fork and indicates towards the kitchen. They take his leftovers out, and he actually goes to leave the room for a minute. You guys have a minute alone in this room with a couple of the paintings.
Hey, Kay, can you hear us? I don't think she can hear us. So, Sig, what are you eating right now?
You were offered any combination of egg and game bird.
He's eating a whole bird.
Uh-huh. Are the feathers plucked?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
Is it dead?
It's dead now.
Oh, okay. Oh, God. Siegfried. Yeah.
The screams. The screams.
I will say Lil Sprout would attempt
Little
to
Sprout.
get or wait, what'd we call him? Little Prout? Little Pot?
Yeah, pout.
Lil Pot.
Pot.
Lil Pot would attempt to
Pot.
indulge in a little bit of the creature's head if you allowed him to.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Excellent. He begins to stick his tendrils through the eye sockets, and he appears to be drinking something out from within its head.
Oh, that's not Chris.
Anyways,
I think he's
Altimus
doing bird
returns
brain.
a couple of documents in his arms as he kind of lays them out on the table where his mat used to be. And it appears to be sort of a sketch, an artist depiction of several different angles of a large serpentine, but with like an upper humanoid torso, though clearly a fish person, with a sort of large, almost like canine, but clearly aquatic still in adaptation and nature head. And to the side of that, you do see a depiction of the crown that you currently are in possession of. And he points it out to you and says, "That is an artifact of a bygone age, my friend, and I am quite surprised that you got a hold of it.
Yep.
Usually those stay in the families of the craftsmen after it falls out of use. I'm not exactly sure how you got it. May I
A
pry?
lot of money.
Or... Ah, yes.
A lot of money.
I know how much that will get you, although... Normally, just out of curiosity, do you lot know the crown maker?
Yeah, that's where I bought it from.
Ah, there's the thing. I see. So that old blob is still oozing about down there.
Oh, what was his name?
Babrug.
Oh, you know Babrug?
Indeed, I've heard of him, and I've, of course, seen his work. Yes, he is a old craftsman. He has done work for us in the past, the far past, back when the upper crust was being formed of Arcanautus. Did a lot of detail work for the Veluvresas, supposedly on some of their magical items and artifacts, but obviously once conflict began, he stuck to his side, per se, stopped doing any work for those on land and preferred to keep things within the kingdom down there. Well, interesting to see that thing out of the water. Legend tells that it... And he kind of reads a little bit of notes off the document. Legend tells that it allows one to peer into the veil and across it. Speaking of which, Zen, are you currently attuned to the Crying King's crown?
I am not attuned at this very moment. I was gonna reattune after getting adjust back on land and adjusting and whatnot.
Gotcha. Sounds good. By the way, I'm gonna, speaking of which, because I have to ask you that almost every session, I'm gonna put a little purple thing on you whenever you are attuned to it so that I remember to describe things in the ethereal plane that you're able to see.
If I see ghosts?
Yeah, basically. Okay. As you actually take the item out as well, and as he is describing this, you do feel a bit of a chill go down your spine for a moment. And Ultimus sort of looks around the room confused for a moment before returning to the paper and what he was about to say. Peering into the veil. And that it will attract the followers of the kingdom, the servants of the kingdom, to you. Now, pardon my caution, my cautious nature, but perhaps you should continue to store that item while you're within the manor. I get the feeling, as he looks over towards the paintings, that there may be some bad blood related to the previous bearer of that crown. The last King Ferwagozix. Are you familiar at all? You said you did not visit Bone Keep. But are you familiar at all with the royal line that rules down there?
We heard they're like huge,
They are quite big.
and that uh, I think it's less of rule now, and I won't say I don't think they distinctly said it was like a puppet king, but like they were losing power or didn't have as much power because of the ghoul preen.
Oh, yes. The Ghoul Preen. Listen, don't worry too much about them. I don't think that they pose much of a threat outside of their cultural influence, though obviously, as you've seen and what I've heard, it
Yeah,
can be
no.
quite problematic. But
Yeah,
as an
no. They
organization, they
are a
seem very
problem.
self-centered.
They are probably the thing we have to worry about the most.
Uh, and this is due to the encouraging of the, more active worship of the sect that you mentioned? If they
Uh
are...
so I don't know. So we weren't able to get 100% confirmation to make this clear. But the technology that was used to create that centipede looking thing that was controlling that avatar
The
that
thing within
attacked
the Deep
our
Titan?
yes, the technology of that thing seemed oddly familiar with the technology that the Gulpreen was using to control a separate sea monster that they used to protect Arcanautus.
Iwit?
At Sorry, say that
The
again.
Subsea Kingdom, you meant.
What did I say? Did I say Arcanautus? Yeah, Subsea
Arcanautus,
Kingdom. Yeah,
because it's the name of the campaign, so it's easy to make the mistake.
yeah. That they used to protect the Subsea Kingdom, as well as that shark that essentially started off our whole shebang.
Ah,
Um,
yes, the Chaos
also,
Rot incident.
so
Arcanautus.
there's a thing about that whole chaos run incident.
Oh?
So apparently the the Subsea Kingdom had received an attack via Chaos Rot shortly before that vessel that had docked here had docked here and was destroyed. They were able to resolve it fairly quickly because they had made preparations beforehand and to combat Chaos Rot. Um, but what seems that shark, considering it was something that the Gulpreen would have created or had some aspect in, I believe it had followed that ship here.
You don't say. That is an
Yeah.
interesting conclusion to come to. I'll have to have somebody look
Uh
into that connection.
yeah, it seems like somebody seems to be taking actions to uh increase hostilities between the kingdoms, or had caused an action, just made a decision that would escalate conflict between the kingdoms. Whether that was thought through or not, I can't say. But when we talked to the captain of that ship, they had seemed to have already transported the material prior to it, and it was just the leftover material chaos rot that they had on board that was then destroyed and then polluted the waters around Arcanautus itself.
Zen, what's your passive perception? It's your perception
That is
plus if you're proficient with it, you get your proficiency. If not, it's just your wisdom mod. 10 plus your wisdom
so
mod.
it's 16.
Okay. You notice Ultimus stopped moving his hands as you, continue about your conversation, no longer fidgeting with his thumbs or doing anything with the sheet in front of him. He nods. I see. And were you drawing any conclusions from your investigation in that regard?
Well, it's either someone from the Subsea Kingdom trying to rile up aggressions in order to start a war or get the people to be more devout towards that sect of the sleeping serpent church, or it's, considering what the captain said, someone of power, or just someone with some kind of hold over that captain, in a good position in Arcanautus, that wanted to stick it to the Subsea Kingdom, whether that is to escalate conflicts or not, and then had mistakenly brought the same substance back to Arcanautus, but didn't know they were being followed by that shark. And then once the shark got that shit back in open water, decided to take it down, which then ended up getting Arcanautus hit with the same the just desserts. So I can't say either way. I don't know. It's not really my
Job to
I've
investigate
sort of been
that.
relegated, and yep, I've sort of been relegated into this position since I've been brought into the politics of these kingdoms. But
Your
based
involvement with the
on
politics, he interrupts you, begins and ends with your duties to Sinispa, not... I did not hire you as investigators, per se. If you need to do some digging to determine the source of threats to Arcanautus, I encourage you to pursue those leads. I encourage it, but remember your purpose. You are here to kill sea monsters. I
well,
do
there aren't really
understand.
many leads.
Continue then.
Well, there aren't really many leads left. I just thought that you might, and whoever happens to be listening in uh might want to be aware of uh what we found, and to be wary, because if there's a threat of someone trying to provoke the Subsea Kingdom or trying to provoke us, when that is not what either side wants or needs, then it's best for the people in power to know.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Oh, excuse me.
I have a couple of leads for you if you've been thirsty for more seafaring combat, although it'll take a bit of time to suss out which ones are more accurate than not. The source that I used for a couple of mine recently had to be expelled, so I've had to find a new source of information. Sanispa has been oh so kindly assisting me, although I'm not sure if she is being more selective with her input, perhaps, as I know she tends to filter things for me, thinking me the fool. If you are...
Siegfried's gonna raid.
Okay, as you finish off this last bite of this bird that you consumed, and your teeth grind against each other for a moment, he leans his head over towards you and looks at you as you your muscles tense and you open your mouth.
You've been taking care of my crab.
Okay, wait, you gave Ultimus the crab?
I left
He
it.
left-
I left it
he-
here.
He left it here.
You left it here, that's right.
Yes.
Ultimus speaks up. Ah, yes. It has been helping in the kitchen. Would you like to see?
Yes.
And one of the chefs will actually kind of point you towards the door, and actually you see in the sink, or in one of the wash bins, without any suds or anything, you see they are actually scraping the leftovers that Ultimus didn't eat into it, and you see the crab is quickly scooping them up and eating them all away. They appear to be using it as a sort of trash disposal. You see that its carapace appears to have been shed at least once, and it seems to be like an inch or two larger than it used to be.
It's been
Whoa,
living the life.
What's going on? One sec, something's going on. Discord's... Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Discord giving you a JavaScript error?
No.
Nope.
Okay, this is weird. One sec. I have to restart Discord. Give me a moment.
So what are you gonna ask for your
Holy shit, it didn't close.
your
Oh my
reward?
god. Alright, one sec. I apologize, dear viewers. Just give me a sec here. Give me 1 sec.
Like
I'm
in
back.
the back of our keep.
Can you guys hear me?
A giant what?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
A giant snake?
I'm sorry,
Like-
what?
Nothing. Not a snake.
Alright. So Siegfried, that's what you saw. What were you guys just saying?
No, I was just
Uh,
asking him, because Zen was about to, since it seems like this part of the conversation was wrapping up, he was going to bring up the reward that we were promised. The rewards we were
Yes.
promised.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Remind me, did he offer you anything specific?
So to be clear, it was Sinispa that hired us for
Correct.
the mission.
Yeah, but
So-
he had offered you an extra... He basically just got
I-
information out of you that you were also going to tell Sinispa, or specifically were going
Yeah.
to tell Sinispa, and he just caught you first, basically. What
He
happened
told
just now.
me to try to kill the guardian.
Correct.
And
And
that shit
he
wasn't
actually
happening.
brings that up as a final point as you are finishing off your yaya fruit and meat salad. Now, about the one task I did add on as a little caveat, I can assume because you did
It
not
saw us
lead with
and
it.
almost killed us all.
That sounds about right. All right. My hope was perhaps a little, but you saw it though. Like he makes
Yes.
deep eye contact with you, and he says, "You saw it, right?
Yes, it haunts our nightmares.
So you know
every once
why
in a
it
while.
has to die."
Siegfried's gonna laugh.
He like looks
Don't
at
I,
you and tilts
you
his
got
head and
scared
like
by it too.
shakes his head. You don't, but you understand. You laugh now. I understand many people process fear in different ways, but you understand why it must die, Siegfried, right?
Scared. I was never afraid of it.
You had the nightmare too. You woke up in
It saw
sweats.
me as a threat. I was a threat to
It's
it.
what?
So that's why it attacked us, because it saw me as a threat.
You
These fools
fought
hid in the
it?
sand. Yes.
I am. Were you
I
able
tried
to injure it?
Swam
No.
away. Swam in circles and then left.
The
I'm
it's not something we can
disappointed,
handle
but
right
happy
now.
that I still have you all available to continue working. You just seeing it is more than I can say for any of the other folks working for me. What was it like, just out of curiosity? I've had dreams, but I don't know how accurate they are to reality.
Big
Imagine
fish.
a very bony serpent with many eyes and tentacles and lights and very black, and it drips. What was the substance called? Oil.
It's Deep
The
One's oil,
something
but you
oil.
feel like that specific substance was a mixture of Deep One's oil and just this sheer necrotic force. This
It drips gross gunk
yeah,
that puts you to
that
sleep and
has
kills
like
you.
tendrils within it. It's different than any of the other Deep One's oil you've encountered. Almost like it's like a living version of the substance. Like
It shot us into the
exactly.
ethereal plane.
That is a thing. Yes, it did in fact do that.
It shot us into the ethereal plane.
It
If it
what? I did,
it
and he
shot us.
actually flips over that piece of paper in front of him and like claps and like is given a quill and starts jotting down it. So all right, so it's summoned.
If it wasn't for the fact that I had that crown, it would have been a
see.
lot harder to deal with.
All right, I see, but it was able to shunt you into the ethereal plane against your will.
Only temporarily. Yes, only temporarily, but yes.
Well, that's good. Otherwise, I'd be talking to a bunch of ghosts right now. Well, and he kind of
you get
chuckles to
used
himself
it.
for a minute. Yes, of course. So, anywho. And he, like, writes down the description and sort of begins to sketch out roughly as you describe it to him what he imagines it looks like. You correct him on a couple of things. And he's able to get a relatively accurate, although it's a little bit crude, drawing of what the Guardian of the Trench actually looks like. And he would indicate to you guys that you lot are actually the first to have seen it and interacted with it in a combative way, it seems. That have actually returned, so good on you. I think I chose the right people
Didn't
for
feel
this
good.
work. Now let's talk about upping your budget a bit. Now, you all still owed a little bit more for contributions towards the keep. Now, Sanispa, with you assisting her, she put in a good word for you. She mentioned that I ought to, perhaps waive the initial building fees and simply contribute more resources towards the establishing of a Slayer's Keep along the shoreline. Hearing your feats now and gaining this new, as he indicates towards a piece of paper, piece of information, as well as the influence, it appears that you have able to have garnered from the Temple of Angulus, I will say I was not mistaken when I forwarded the rest of the funds. The gold has been distributed. It flows now in the direction that I believe is most appropriate for you all. The supplies are present and the crews are ready. Once I give them direction, or once I send them off with instructions from you all, the construction will be underway. Now, this is just for the building itself. Any special materials or rooms or whatever you may have to gain on your own. Although, if you need to hire any staff, I will give you 1,000 gold budget for the month, specifically to spend on staffing. So if you need additional staff, that is what I will be contributing towards the increasing power of the Slayers.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So you have 1,000 gold
It's
a month staffing budget.
All right, I'll add that.
And I did, in fact, do some work while you lot were away. And I did find some potential hires for the lot of you. And I will just go ahead and copy and paste those back into the chat. If you guys are interested, we can go over these guys now, or we can talk about it out of game. But yeah, and I'll repost it in the Discord.
I don't think it's necessary to go over now.
Don't need to go over it now. Okay, so we will. I will.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys here. I'll just scroll on the chat so that everybody can see. So you got Eastfell, Killing Wind, dwarf from a seafaring clan to the north. Getting on in years, but he is familiar with the seas and the handling of harsh environments, as well as northern sea creatures. Outgoing Side Cackler, a gnome artist, renowned for his depictions and extrapolations on local sea monsters. Dai Gyur, a dark blue female tiefling with 4 eyes and sharp teeth that can trace their lineage back to demons of the deep, who is familiar with demons that spawn from the seas and has dreamed many times of the trench and its denizens. Ultimus will mention that he definitely does not trust them at all, but they came with a recommendation from Kay, Sinispa's head agent, so they were added to the list. Another recommendation from Kay was Alnhe Lightsworn, a divine blood from the Order of Celestials on Sigilgea, the mainland of Sigilgea, who was also recommended by Kay, who is a paladin of some renown who is well known for their lust for hunting demons. Strong even amongst the Order of Celestials. So yeah, you guys are given a couple of different hiring options, and that's just the ones that Ultimus recommends. So we, out of game, we will go over and we will determine who you're hiring, what they're going to be in charge of, if you're going to take them on the ships, all that stuff. We'll do that out of game. But yeah, so Ultimus will clap his hands together, nod to the both of you, and finish off the conversation with, I believe I made the right decision in hiring you both for this task. Keep an ear out for any news from the Subsea Kingdom from your agent down there. And I look forward to hearing more of your exploits. For now, I was told by the Sky Knight, Gabriel, who set to update me, that you all were looking to rest a bit after your long journey. Feel free to take, say, 2 weeks of downtime. I have a couple of people looking into a couple of links, potential hunts that you could go on for me. But outside of that, things have been relatively peaceful and, if I might say, rather successful in Arcanautus lately. After the chaos rot was cleared, trade came back with full force, if not slightly more. There aren't as many pufferfish in the water anymore. Not sure why, but besides that, things seem to have been going rather well. So, that said,
Meh.
I will leave you all to it. Sanispa is... And he kind of, like, closes his eyes and, like, thinks for a moment. She's heading back into the other room as we speak. And you do hear a door gently creak open and closed in the other room adjacent, the one that you had met her in before, as you hear gentle piano music begin to play in the other room.
It's the blind guy.
With that, I will take my leave. Do you have any questions for me before I go?
I think I'm clear. Thank you for the meal, and we'll definitely keep an eye out for any missions that you have for us. You'll know where to find us.
Indeed. I will have somebody get in touch with you if anything comes up before the 2 weeks are up. Although I frankly doubt it. My agents gave me that time frame as well. So, unless they double down on their efforts, I don't think you'll be hearing anything from me, at least for a little while. Best of luck with the building efforts. The person in charge of the construction is one Valoran Giern. He's a half-elf fellow, getting on in years a little bit, but he is a reliable contractor who I've worked with in the past. He's helped with some reconstruction as well as maintenance efforts for the manor itself, as well as, and he would indicate out one of the windows towards the tower, as well as the Saltmire Tower that stands so grandiose above our beloved city. So, certainly someone worth his weight in salt. All right. I will leave you all to it. Best of luck. And Ultimus would go off and do whatever Ultimus does. The other
Count
door...
Salt.
The other door opens, and you see ahead, as you enter the room, standing to the side, holding the door for you all, the hooded figure with the silver snout poking just out, as a smile creeps across their face as you all step into the room. Kay, holding the door open for you all, for you both.
Before we get too deep, in there, can I whisper to Kay? So was it him?
She whispers back, "We're not sure. He's being very coy and more careful. I haven't been able to pry, and it's difficult to pry on him in particular. If you have questions for Sanispa, you should make them known, although don't offend her if you can help it." That's all I'll say on that.
I doubt she'd like that question.
And
all right.
And Kay will sort of give you, like, she'll, like, raise the eyebrow in sort of like a "yeah, you think" kind of motion, or at least that's the message that you seem to get from it. And they will nod you towards Sanispa, who sits on the chairs by the piano again, playing that gentle melody again, the same blindfolded individual from before.
Should we move up?
Welcome. Yes, come forward, please do. It's been a little bit. All things considered, your results were within the expected time frame, but you took a little while getting back, I heard. Off to do some errands for the Temple of Anguillus, I see. You feel a bit of
We
a warmth from her that you didn't feel the first time you all interacted, instead of that massive, intimidating pressure and simple sense of presence that she has. You feel it. While it's still there, it's currently being blocked by what is most likely a mask of, like, satisfaction.
Thank you for your kind words, ma'am. Yeah, I'm not sure if you were able to hear as we were talking to your husband.
I could,
Uh,
yes.
I assume so. Uh, so it you already know the details I didn't make very clear before. Flinmarin, the Gulpreen.
Yes.
We revealed what we could. We had to use a little bit of magical influence to get in the door, but we managed to
As
get him
any
at the
good bit of
table.
espionage may. Yes, I heard. And are there any additional details you could share regarding the Gulpreen? Did you learn anything else? My husband
So
has
the Gulp
been nervous about the rising of the serpent, but I don't want him acting rashly when there is a potential additional threat that is not 60 foot and filled with teeth.
more than 60 foot for sure. But yes, the Gulpreen are so the factions of the Subsea Kingdom, from what I've seen, seem to be the royalty, the church, and the Gulpreen. The church was backing the Gulpreen, but thanks to our efforts, it seems that Flynn's gonna at least gradually remove the backing to an extent, considering what we revealed to him.
That's a major
But
step.
The Gulpreen still hold the majority of power. They're escalating the culture and the society of the Subsea Kingdom at an exponential rate, and using their advanced technology to improve the lifestyles of the people there. But it's pretty clear that the Gulpreen seem to be in some cahoots with the sect of the church that is trying to wake the serpent and or just escalate conflicts with us. It should also be made clear that the whole, demon thing leeching off the serpent.
Was there truth to it?
I mean, it was the serpent itself that told us in the first place, so I didn't never really doubted it. But Flynn managed to commune uh with e- with some one of the two, whether it was the serpent or the demon, and he didn't like the answer he got. So
Interesting.
it
Interesting. The head priest communed with what was providing him with his powers, supposedly, and did not like the answer. Do you remember the
he
questions he asked? Do you remember the
the
questions he
question
asked that bothered
uh
you?
the our so we had three
Yeah.
questions. Our two questions ended up flopping, but his
Yeah.
question was,
Do you have...
do they
Yeah.
have the well-being of the Subsea Kingdom and its people
Mm-hmm.
at heart? Or and it was no.
Yeah.
It was either no
Well, he
or
didn't say what the
uh
answer was, but it clearly upset him.
yeah, and yeah, so
Yeah.
that I would indicate that that's
Indicate that,
rather than it
yes.
said no, that he was not happy with the answer he got from
I
the
see.
being when he asked that
I
question.
see, I see, I
And that was
see.
essentially the turning point when he fully decided to support us.
Now, my knowledge of this Flynn Marin, he has a history of disdain for Arcanautus. For
Oh yeah, he
him,
hates this place.
yes, for him to speak to his god and to change his mind after asking such a question with the influence that you have made and the whatever information you provided him, that tells me more than perhaps any direct confirmation would. A direct confirmation from anyone could be guarded by a lie, subterfuge, misinformation from the parasite itself or from those working to seek it out, protect it, unleash it, who knows. But from one communing with their god, while there is some unreliability and the gods can be fickle, this is most concerning. Thank you. You have done well, and I believe that leaving Sylvie there was a wise decision, both for their sake and ours. I believe they will be happier there, for sure. Not that it particularly matters one way or another, as long as they are keeping things peaceful. That is important, especially now that the chaos rot is gone and the gold flows once more. If things keep going as they are going, and this peace continues, that is good for us. My husband may be more gung-ho about his fighting the creatures of the sea, but I have more of a long-term health of the kingdom, of the city in mind. I think if this peace continues, that is very good for us. Ships have been traveling in and out with greater frequency than even right before. Word that we have a new, supposedly legendary group of adventurers turned hires of the Saltmire family, these new Saltmire slayers. Word is beginning to spread. Despite your not so long existence under our hire, or I suppose under my husband's hire, if we're being oh so specific. I am impressed, and I look forward to working with you again in the future on similarly important tasks. For now, I will be doing my own investigations, and when I have need of a hammer with which to hit this nail, drive it down, I would hope that I could rely upon you again to be that hammer. Does this sound agreeable?
It worked out this time.
Hmm.
I have no reason to deny it at this point in time, but as you would probably guess, we're not in a rush to run into our own deaths, but you have our support.
And that means much. Now, if I may bring up the point of your reward, what can I do for you, now that you have done this for me? My husband provides you with much gold, for sure, but is there perhaps something that I can make happen for you that may either, and she kind of looks around, goes against my husband's wishes, that still aligns with mine, of course, or perhaps something that requires a greater reach than you all have right now? Or if you would like me to look into something for you, I can spare a couple agents. If you let Kay know of your request, I can have her send someone to investigate. Do you have any questions that you would like investigated, or specific requests for around town? Or even for out of
Uh,
town? My fingers reach far.
I elbow Siegfried.
So, I was wondering if you could obtain an egg for me.
Interesting. We have many eggs in the kitchen right now, though I'm sure those aren't what you referred to. What
It's
creature are you seeking to hatch?
wyvern.
Simple enough. It is done. Would you like it sent to the keep or elsewhere?
The keep would do fine.
I will have them focus on constructing a pen for it. As a youth, it will need a little bit of space to fly, but as it grows, it may claim the whole keep as its stalking ground. You may wish to make perches in the towers or along the walls for it as it grows, though that could be years going forward. It's going to take a while, but if this is the only request, this is very simple for me. The Sky Knights work beneath us, and they undoubtedly would have access. Is there anything else, perhaps, Zen, that you would like me to do for you?
Zen's eyes begin to glow, the characteristic light green they
She's
typically do.
she gets a slight smile. The corner of her lips go up.
Uh yes, there is one thing that has been biting, tugging at my heart since it was mentioned to me for what seems to be ages ago. But Kay, around the time when we first we did that first mission for them where we almost got massacred, um told me that there's some sort of weapon that is in the possession of your family that is of uh untold rarity and power, and I I want it. I really, and as he's been talking, his eyes are
She
glowing more and more. I
shoots a
really,
glare at
really want
Kay
it.
that immediately you guys sense the mood in the room changes, and that kind of warm facade drops as Kay retracts into her hood slightly. He likes weapons. Kay says
The,
in their
the
defense,
glow is still
supposedly.
growing.
Sinispa returns her gaze towards you slowly and deliberately, and her eyes affixed to yours. She seems to be sizing you up. And you feel as if you are an open book before her. She looks you up and
Should, should I
down.
t- should I say what my surface thoughts are?
Oh, no, no. This is simply a glance. Simply a woman who has been in the business of knowing people for a long, long time. And she is taking you in and all that you are and what you present yourself as. And she speaks up. The weapon of which you speak is for emergencies only. And for only one or two specific emergencies. It was commissioned by my husband long ago at this point. And it is kept under the tightest lock and key that I am capable of putting it under. I can't even let you see it. But
Well,
what is your interest exactly? Do tell me, why do you want such a thing? Why would you like such a valuable asset?
I have but one dream, and that is to own the mightiest weapon, whether that be a blade, a hammer, an axe, a maul, a spear, whatever it is, I want to own it. Whether it is that via purchasing, trading, uh, finding, or creating, I that is my most fervent desire. They told me, Kay told me that it is a weapon of immense power, and if anything, it can be a starting point for me to improve upon to make something even greater. But for that to happen, I need to have it first.
Sinispa sort of leans back for a moment in her chair and is continuing to look at you, and then she locks eyes with you, and you feel the intensity of her gaze. It is not malicious. It is just knowing. She seems to know how important this is to you. She can tell from the way you speak of it. This way you speak of it, that this. And she says, "This has been a dream of yours, eh? Something so powerful, is that right?"
I'd say it's past the dream at this point, an obsession, even a drive to keep pushing forward, a a tugging at my very soul that drives me to do whatever it takes.
I can't give you hours. But maybe I can give you the means to make your own. Since you, a smith capable of such feats as the one I heard of, forging that rod for your large friend.
Oh, that was a challenge, but that was real fun.
Yes, I can tell your passion. I used to be that passionate about many things in my youth. It is a spark that I wish you not to lose going forward as we continue our business. But remember, with passion can come blindness. Do not let your love of this art become a blinder to what exists and what threats may approach from other directions in your life. I speak of this from experience, my friend.
Well, thank you for the advice.
And she will say to you, one Lyraster was the one commissioned to help forge the creation. You now understand why perhaps it has been put under tighter security lately.
Raster. Is that someone we've heard about before?
Flynn mentioned him.
Out of session. Laraster. Wait. Wasn't he like the smartest guy in the Ghoulpreen or something?
The supposed founder of the Ghoulpreen and the one who developed their vehicles.
I see.
So you understand
So,
why I am apprehensive to hand it off to you lot. While I respect Sylvie's passion, I understand that you lot worked together, and I don't want this weapon to fall into the hands of those who may mass produce it. Laraster has an agreement with us to not make any more, although who knows, frankly. If he were to make war, I would learn about it and act accordingly, but he has not been foolish enough or has kept it well enough hidden that I wouldn't know, because if I did know, that would be your next mission.
I see. Well, I can assure you that at best I would only create one because after I've created it once, uh, the only thing I can do is create something stronger afterwards.
That is an interesting thought, creating something stronger. It is a very specific weapon, but were one to approach at it from the angle of one seeking to create the ultimate weapon, I admit I don't trust you enough quite yet to give you full access. Like I said, I'll let you perhaps examine the weapon. Is this an appropriate agreement for now? Until I know that Laraster is not making more, that he needs something from us to make more. Or if he doesn't need us to make more, that would be my concern. I need to make sure that the secret of their production is kept under wraps. He and I and Ultimus are the only ones who know how, or at least all, the details of how it was made. I can give you pieces of the formula and I can let you extrapolate on your own, and whatever happens, happens. But again, if it threatens Arcanautus, if it becomes a threat to Arcanautus, you know that I can't have that.
Do what you must.
Okay, since you were so eager to show off our secret weapon, would you please take our friends here to the vaults? And I don't have a map piece for this, but Kay would escort you all over to the library for the like library / lounge across the way, and we'll just put you guys over there for now. Siegfried, will you be joining for this as well?
I actually wanted to talk to Kay, or not Kay, but forgot
Sinispa?
her name.
Interesting.
Yeah, about
Okay.
purchasing land.
Oh, curious. You can go ahead and do that real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, do that now.
All right. I'd like to purchase a large plot of land behind the keep.
That is simple enough. It's simply forest over there. It doesn't cut into the upper residential district. How much land do you need? We could specify whatever the acreage would be later, but go ahead. So you say how much land you're interested in.
Enough to make a large lake.
Interesting. Would 1,000 square feet do it? Or they would say whatever the, correct measurement. Well, we'll get the details of the measurement later, but we'll just say, chalk up, she'd say, it's mostly forest. To pay the crews to clear the land and start the construction.
I don't need help clearing the land.
I see.
I have something that could help me do that.
You have a monster. Yes, I am aware. And she's gonna glare at you, Siegfried. Roll an
Oh,
intimidation check for me versus Sinispa.
Oh, this is legendary. Old lady intimidation versus Siegfried. Come on, old
Anwan.
lady, win. No.
As you glare back at her, your eyes meeting, you feel the coldness of her glare, the years of calculated power put behind these eyes. But you have a raw strength of your own as well, and you show this to her through your eyes. Your body tenses, your teeth clench, and she gives an inch and then returns the glare. Siegfried, you would do well to keep that creature a secret, and to kill it if it gets out of hand. I understand how valuable an asset it can be, but the risk is great. The land will be cleared by the end of the week, or I should say, I'm sure you will clear the land by the end of the week, at which point I will send some crews down to begin distributing the necessary fluid. Do you need fresh water or salt?
Uh,
It's probably better with fresh because salt water will probably kill the surrounding flora and fauna.
fresh.
All right, I will have them take care of it for you. I have a couple of mages who can probably fill it up over the course of a couple days. It will be done. The Slayer's Keep will have a lake in the back. All right. Zen.
All right.
Or, I apologize, Siegfried. Was that the end of that?
Yeah.
Lake, get. Zen. This is a classic secret tunnel. She moves a book.
Secret tunnel.
It slides to the side, and it's a ladder down. You climb down for a little while. There is a second door that is guarded by another cloaked figure bearing the same emblem you see that the same signet ring that you see Kay has. They acknowledge Kay and then look towards you.
Mines are still going, by the way. They have not stopped.
Yeah. Actually, this is a very dimly lit area. So the glow from your eyes actually does illuminate ever so slightly, like bioluminescence in the dark. And the individual would nod. Another dragonborn, this one red, a little bit beefier than Kay, but they would nod and place their hand against the door, and Kay would likewise place their hand against the door. You see a faint glow go from around their hands as the door seems to slide open side to side into the wall. Before you rests a large vault door, like something you'd see at a bank. And Kay would begin to twist the handle, look back at you and say, I knew you would be excited to see this, as she pulls the door open. Within, you see, she says, don't get within 5 feet of it, by the way.
Will I instantly die?
Pretty close. Yeah, it'll hurt a lot. And so you see this almost featureless white room, but within it, raised up on a stone pedestal, and sort of just there's this glass box, and within this glass box, the glass box itself being about 3 feet by 2 feet, you see two small metal prongs at the base of the container and a faint electrical spark arcing between them and the thing that rests within. You have seen something like this for, I guess you would describe it for like putting holes into ships, or like for opening a cork, a screw for that, but it's more like a drill. As you see this ornate, very intricate, metallic, shining silver object attached to what appears to be, you see loose hanging leather that's studded with little faintly yellow glowing lights all along the leather. And you see throughout the leather various little, like, what appear to be like veins that glow yellow beneath the leather itself that leads up to this handle, which you think you put the leather to your arm and strap it on, and then you stick your hand into this holding thing. And before it would be this about 1.5 foot long drill-shaped object of like a multi-piece drill where the individual pieces like spin separately. It's got about 4 pieces, including this tip. The tip of which glows a violent yellow. It is visible and appears to essentially be illuminating the whole room, the glow from the tip of this drill. It's if I was to describe the architecture of it, I would say clockwork, but a little bit more elegant. Like, it's more of a curving set of organic shapes rather than the, gears and the corners. There are no 90-degree angles on this object, basically. I think it's tough to give a particularly apt description outside of that, but that is what you see before you. Kay says, I'll give you 10 minutes to just look. Again, don't get within 5 feet. Or terrible, horrible pain.
Now, how terrible and horrible is this pain?
On a scale
Exactly.
On a scale of 1d4 to 20d6, about 20d6.
Now, here's my second question. Will I get in trouble if I get within 5 feet of it? Or will it just hurt me?
And
for
not
how
if you
long
get
will it
within
hurt
5
me?
feet of it, but if you try to take it or take it out of the glass, yes.
No, I don't.
And it'll be. We haven't tested it in a while, so I mean, sure, if you want to test the security system, feel free.
I would never try to steal this thing, ever.
Go ahead and make a deception check for me.
Oh, Yup.
Are you lying?
I'd
roll her insight, but her modifier is higher than your roll.
I would never. But also, I'm not. His intention is actually not to steal it. He's trying to control himself.
Okay.
Because he doesn't. That's why he asked if he'd get in trouble.
She can tell. Okay, so I'll give you this. With that roll, she can clearly tell that you are trying to suppress an urge that is a part of your very being. And she would put her hand on your shoulder for a moment and say, "Listen, don't.
So it's a magic drill.
It's very important that you don't try to take the magic drill."
So it's a magic drill. And he pulls out Starpiercer. And he looks at it and is like, "Do you spin too?" And like, Halo's inside of it, so he's just...
Halo says, "Yeah, I spin all the time. You see me do it."
You know what? That's right. Better drill. Puts away. So what does it do?
A lot of damage.
Okay, so So this isn't what I thought. This isn't
particularly to monstrosities.
Oh, it's a monster killer. I see.
It very much is. But again, it does, and she emphasizes, a lot of damage. You could take down a building with this thing with one strike. It is no joke.
Wouldn't this be very useful for construction then?
It runs off of a resource that is a little tough and dangerous to deal with. So maybe no.
Is it Chaos Rod or the shit that's in those squids?
It is the shit that's in those. Excuse me? I mean,
The squids?
you know, so I will simply confirm for you, yes.
Good luck.
One sec. What's that shit called again? N
It
or
was
something?
like super. It was like super coffee.
Bright squid.
Well,
Enter something.
I don't remember. But what Zen would say is, well, this is a little more techy than weapons that are my preference, but it's still very impressive. Would I be able to like try to
You
like
have
get
10
through
minutes
like
in this room, so you can make investigation checks. You can do whatever you
yeah?
want, man.
I want to try to see if I
Enter
can
resin.
figure
The
out like
shit's called enter resin, by the way.
enter resin. Can I try to figure out what it's made of?
Sure, go
And
ahead. Roll an investigation check
and
for me.
all right. Do I have advantage?
Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No. Oh, also I have the arcane loop out. By the way.
Yeah, they pog when they see it. One sec, I gotta blow my nose.
Foggers.
We got pogs.
Let me. So, let me just double check. Yeah. So I get advantage on checks. Is it just not gonna work because of the pogs? Does the arcane loop not work because of the pogs, or
What? No,
is the
no.
pog
That's not.
too strong?
No.
Pogs, is it working?
No,
the
they're
answer.
excited to look at it. So go ahead and roll your.
I see.
Does it give you advantage? Remind me.
Yeah,
This
it
is
gives
a
me
magic
advantage
item.
on investigation and arcana checks.
Okay, cool. Does
So
it?
23.
It doesn't cast a spell or anything, right? It just helps you with the investigation.
No,
Okay,
it
cool.
helps with the investigation.
Yeah, she mentions as you go to take that out, she mentions spells won't go through the glass.
That's fine.
Okay. And yes, the arcane loop should work because it is based off of observation, not like actual. It's the magic of the loop, not the magic on the item. So sorry. What did you roll there?
23.
23. You're looking for the material it's made out of?
Currently, yes.
Okay. This material appears to be made out of some kind of like bronzish, copperish colored material. So it's like that kind of like oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It's the silver. It appears to be made out of this silverish material that appears as you look at it to have like the texture or the properties of copper, as it does appear to be like as you see the little bits of electricity going in, it seems to like be distributing.
Very conductive.
It appears to be very conductive. It's not silver. It seems denser. It seems harder. This is not a material that you are at all familiar with, although remind me, is Starpiercer made of meteor metal?
I don't
I
think
don't
it was
believe
ever
so.
revealed.
No.
It was never revealed. It was just that I mean it's obviously related to
It is
like
related, yes.
stars.
The blade itself was not forged of star metal, but this, with a 23, I will say, the words star metal definitely come across the loop. And you definitely get that feeling that there is nothing of this plane that would look like this, be forged like this, outside of like for specific arcane purposes. Especially with how organically the metal seems to like have been forged. This was either some very expert craftsmanship, or the metal itself has properties that cause it to not take edges. As you investigate this, and you actually do not find a single sharp edge on this metal. Yeah. Outside of
I
the
know what.
tip, which is that bright glowing, and it appears to be a completely different material that, with a 23, star metal question mark. Like, they're not exactly sure, but it appears to also not be of this plane.
Well, I at
So
least have
this
some
this
leads on how to
yeah,
get star
so
metal.
this thing appears to be forged of star metal. Or at
Okay,
least
okay.
mostly. The material you see strapped that affixes the rest of it appears to just be a mixture of essentially like some gold wiring. There is some steel inlays in the metal that those yellow lights blink and glow upon the leather straps that you have to wrap around your arm to affix it to yourself. The material that glows within it, in those little bulbs, you can tell is in fact resin. And you, with a 23, you can also extrapolate that perhaps the little bulbs also seem to be some kind of power measurement. Like you can see that
They're
the
batteries.
topmost, yeah, the topmost bulbs are actually not lit, so it appears that it is not actually fully charged. But only it's like 90% charged, you would guess, if that theory is in fact correct.
So
I'd say with all of that information, that is a majority, I think, of the information that you'd be able to glean in general. So just from this distance and without being able to attune to it or anything. So
yeah.
yeah, that
So
is what you're able to determine.
Zen would say out loud, okay, so it's made of star metal. I think I know where I can find that. It seems that the majority of its strength comes from the energy it receives from the squid gunk. So I'm guessing that the energy transfers directly at the point of impact, uh, or is it just it produces an electrical surface onto the
You
object,
see
which
Kay
then
is
the drill
actually
transfers,
smiling.
and so it's utilizing the absorption of the energy from that stuff and disperses it when used. That could be useful. It's really techy, more into arcane, but I guess I can apply this into an arcane source. Maybe having the an apparatus within like a storing device similar to that can absorb magical energy, not necessarily that this stuff, so it's more easily accessed, more easily charged, and by having it charged at separate occasions, I can then release it in app situations. Hmm.
As you are observing this device, um Kay eventually would speak up, and you are like getting super into this and like talking to yourself and like trying to figure out in theory crafting, like, oh, this is probably how it works. So blah 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 blah. Kay would eventually speak up and say, all right, time's up. Did you get your satisfactory eye full?
There's no such thing,
I
but
understand.
I
Sinispa won't let
have.
it go right now. I apologize for tempting you with it earlier, but once we learned of the Gulpreen's involvement, it needed to be placed under heavier lock and key.
Well, to be fair, it is very interesting, but I don't know if it's my cup of tea. Now, the technology and the crafting methods for it, oh yes, I'm still very interested in that, but I don't really see myself rigged up like that in fighting. But if I
Hmm.
can apply that towards my own weapon, I could create something a lot more versatile, I believe. And it might lack a little bit of the juice that the squid gunk gives, but to not have to worry about a rare material to charge it is a lot more flexible. Yes, yes. All right. Thanks for the help. I gotta go. I gotta go talk to some people uh about stuff. All right, about foraging.
Indeed, indeed. And then Kay would lead you back up. And as you are rising up, you actually see sitting at a chair, eating a sandwich, is Zalphos in the library as you guys exit. And Kay
What are you doing
would
here?
exit first and be like, "What the fuck? We told you to stay in your room." And Zalphos would kind of look over at her and just take another bite of the sandwich. I there was they made me a sandwich. I wanted to eat it in the library.
I walk up to Zalphos and put my arm over his shoulder.
Oh,
Zalphos, buddy,
no, I don't want
I
to
got a
go.
job
I
for
don't
you.
want no. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. All right, everybody. Echo, I apologize that you didn't get a chance to like hop in. Um like I said, a lot of this is just going to be downtime stuff. Does anybody have, before I cut it, any final things they want to say or input here?
Um, I don't think so.
Alrighty. That all said then, have a lovely night, everybody, and we will see you again next week. Bye-bye.